Hello and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer of the Week Drink Along. I'm Luke.
And I'm Matt.
And we're drinking a big beer today.
Yeah.
This was a bit of a get to get in our boxes.
Yeah, really stoked to have this beer. So this is a really exciting beer from one of Australia's most exciting breweries. So Mountain Culture are based in Katoomba in the Blue Mountains near Sydney. And they've only been going for a couple of years, but they've already developed a great reputation as one of Australia's best breweries. And this is an example of the kind of thing that they're known for.
Yeah, they have. They really sort of exploded onto the scene. Cheers, Matt.
Cheers.
And as well as it being a big, bold, big flavoured beer, I was actually talking about it just being a bloody big can. It's a half-litre can, which you get a bit of in the States, a little bit of in Australia. I don't think anyone in New Zealand's done a half-litre can. But we upgraded we changed our Beer of the Week boxes to these little cute ones that are a bit easier for us to deal with. And then we bought this can and realised that we couldn't really shove it in there.
Yeah, I think there's been one or two 500ml cans released in New Zealand. I know our mates down the road at Cowabunga released I think Primo Porter in a 500ml can a little while ago.
Yeah, with hand canning.
But really there's very few of them around. And we actually, as Small Gods, wanted to can into 500 milliliter cans. But unfortunately, you have to buy a whole container of them. And people's canning machines aren't set up for them, so it proved to be more hassle than it's worth. But I really love the feel of that big can. It's really it's a good size for me.
It's just so satisfying and just such a treat to be able to get a beer like this in the Beer of the Week box, which is just such a major beer. It's big in every way. It's like full hoppy. It's got that oak cream vibe. Mountain Culture burst onto the scene about 2.5 years ago, as Matt said, in the Blue Mountains, and they've had a hell of a first year or two, really. They had the bushfires, they had drought, they had coronavirus, just a real hellscape in which to launch a brewery. But despite all of that, I think maybe those guys, maybe Range were a bit similar.
Yeah.
Maybe Deeds were sort of really ramping up at that sort of time. But just some Australian breweries that really embrace this whole, I suppose, the modern American take on what's interesting in craft beer, and with beers like the New England IPAs, which are pretty hard to make.
Yeah, it's a really difficult style to do well, and this just really exemplifies it. It's got that really rich, full body. It's so creamy, partially as a result of the lactose in there. That's kind of what one of the two things that makes it an oat cream IPA. I'll let you guess what the other ingredient is that makes it do that. But it's another example of Sabro hops. Now, those of you who've been drinking along with the Advent calendar will have had another Australian Sabro hazy IPA on day 2 of the Advent calendar with that Deeds Hypnotic Suggestion that we drank. And this, while that was a more kind of herbal expression, we're getting much more of that coconutty vibe that they talk about with Sabro in this one.
Yeah, this is what I'm more used to with Sabro. But also, I think it's in here. It's part of the melody. It's not just bold, big Sabro, which is very divisive. I think this is the sort of beer which it just fits in nicely, and it is going to be and I'll talk about beers as crowd pleasers, but I don't think there are many people that will not like this beer. And it is so hard to make a New England IPA, a hazy East Coast IPA. There are every brewery is doing one these days, and I think there's just a real difference. And I remember probably 4 years ago when they sort of first emerged in New Zealand, you had Party and Bullshit, and you had
Juice Box and those early days ones.
Yeah, was it Lid Ripper from Behemoth was there first?
That was fairly early.
So these hazy beers came out, and there were a lot of other brewers that weren't yet brewing hazies. They're all brewing hazies now in New Zealand. Were a bit dismissive of it and said they didn't like them, and then at this time I went on holiday and I stopped in New York and on my way to Britain, and I drank some of these New England IPAs by breweries like Grimm, like Other Half, and then to England when I was drinking these beers by breweries like Cloudwater, and it's a different beer. That this is not the same as a hazy IPA that a lot of breweries put out. They're nice beers, but for me, it's almost like there's two levels of different kinds of IPAs for me.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I think there's very few breweries in New Zealand who have really nailed the style. There are definitely some out there, and those of you who are drinking at home will probably have a good idea of who they are. Don't want to call anyone out on here. But to me, there's a big difference between. I mean, oat cream IPA is kind of a beast unto itself because it's taken to that next level with lactose,
Exactly,
which
yeah.
isn't to everyone's taste.
Yeah.
But with those New England IPAs, it's this kind of body that that can be achieved without lactose.
Absolutely.
And it's that kind of body and that kind of creaminess and the mouthfeel, which is hugely important to the beer style, and having those aromatic hops and that tropical floral note kind of sit on top, without kind of spiking out, without any harshness to it. There's no harsh bitterness, there's no harsh hop astringency, there's no hop burn. So a lot of examples that you'll see in New Zealand will have either will have the body and one of those three elements, or they'll not have the body to back it up, and you'll get something kind of a little sharper and thinner. But yeah, really pleased to be able to bring you examples like this where it's just so elegantly well done.
Yeah, this is what the style is all about. I think recently it's become a bit of a cool thing to say for beer fans, to say that they hate hazies. But I get that, you know, what we've just been saying. There's a lot of hazies that are fine, but it's not what a lot of people might choose to be drinking. It's a good sort of entry-level sort of beer. But when you drink a really good New England IPA, that is really fantastic. And and as Matt was saying, the East Coast New England style, it's all about the softness and roundness and mouthfeel and body, and it's a really different beast to your West Coast IPA, which is all about sort of bitterness and resininess, and it's a kind of a different, it's a different expression of those hops, and it's a really fun style that people are doing really cool stuff with. But yeah, Mountain Culture in particular are just nailing it, and this beer, I think this is in the core range now, right?
Yeah, it's one of their core range beers. They actually have one of the most highly rated hazy IPAs in the world in their Be Kind Rewind, which they've now made another core beer. And yeah, it's really cool to see that people are able to put out beers like this with that consistency. But Mountain Culture are doing some other really cool stuff as well. So they're a big fan of stuff like decoction lagers, which is, I think, the head brewer DJ McReady has a big love for. They hosted the most insane beer event, which I do not understand at all, which was a Rauch beer festival.
So good, I wish I could have gone.
Which is right up Luke Street, less so up mine, which is a smoked beer festival, and they got brewery, like the top breweries from all over Australia brewing smoked beers, and then they came together to brew a big triple hazy IPA because that's what people actually want to drink. But yeah, really cool and out there left field stuff coming from Mountain Culture as well. So as well as putting out big hazies like this, a brewery that's able to march to the beat of their own drum and expanding so rapidly. Like as we said, they've only been going for just over 2 years, and they've already had to move into a new, much bigger facility. And yeah, great to see them growing. And some of you may have met the guys when they came over for Beervana a few months ago, and great to see the response to them at that stand here as well.
Yeah, we've been chatting to the Mountain Culture guys since close to the start, really, because for them they really wanted to get some of their beers to New Zealand. Like, I think a lot of Australian brewers, they've got good connections to New Zealand and love coming over here, but they just didn't have the volume. And really, in that first year, it was kind of like you read about at American hype breweries. People were queuing up outside, and their drops were just selling out in minutes. And it was during the coronavirus, and
yeah.
So I think people were just really excited to get their beer. So there was just no way they could send us beer. So it was the moment their big new brewery came online, we got a shipment over here for you New Zealanders. And we're looking forward to getting a bit more, as and when we were able to, get some more Mountain Culture beers over to New Zealand.
Yeah, we had a fantastic mixed IPA 6-pack from them recently, and we'll be looking to do that again in the new year. So definitely keep your eye out for more stuff from them. And speaking of more stuff from Mountain Culture, this Saturday at the Fridge and Flagon, we have a Mountain Culture beer that we imported specially for ourselves, going on tap, not available anywhere else in the country, and it is a maple syrup imperial stout. So
it's our Christmas present to, well, I was going to say to you, but it's to us really, because we want to drink it. But you can also share our Christmas present.
But we've got some more amazing imperial stouts going on tap for our Christmas party. We've got a vintage keg of Old Saint Nick, our Christmas cake imperial stout from last year, which we've been sitting on specially for this occasion. and we've got a couple of other imports. We've got some more local stuff. It's an incredible tap lineup. We've got some delicious skewers from Pink.
From the Strawberry Pig,
The
Carlo.
Strawberry Pig. I knew it was something pinkish. From Carlo, the Strawberry Pig, who's done some incredible glazes using some Small Gods beers and doing some incredible pairings there. So come by on Saturday at the Fridge and Flagon, check it out, see off the year with us, and yeah, have a great time.
Well, thanks for joining us this week. I hope you enjoy this pretty fantastic beer. We will see you. See you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.